Hi, welcome to my video on writing polynomial expressions. In this video, if you want to work ahead of me, because hopefully know all the background to this and you know how to do parameters and areas, so we're using the information, the skills that we learned now to do an application. So let's start. Practice means pause for every page I'm doing here. You can pause the video, work all the answers out to see if you're going to be right before I do them, and then press play to see if you're right. Find the parameter of each in simplest descending order. Notice simplest descending form or order. So parameter means add up all the sides. So parameter is 8x minus 1, add on 5x plus 4, add on 3x plus 6. Now I could do brackets on all of these, but we're just adding them together, so don't have to do brackets. And we add up our like terms, so if I want a group, just to make sure, I put my like x's together, my constants together, and we know that x's go first, constants go last. And 13 plus 3 is 16x, and 10 minus 1 is 9. So that's the parameter when you add all these up. Parameter means add up all the sides. And I could have went from here right to here, but grouping them together, it helps you to organize and you don't make a mistake. This is look at, we have 4 right angles, so that's a rectangle. So I know that I can do this 2 ways. I can go x plus 2 there, and 4x minus 3 there, because the opposite sides are equal. So I got 2 choices. I can go parameter is twice the length plus twice the width. So I can go length is 6x plus 2. The width is 4x minus 3. And you say, which is which? Well, one little way, you don't have to really worry about what's length and width here when you're doing polynomials. But normally if you put a 1 in here, you get 4 times 1 is 4 minus 3, that's a 1. Put a 1 in here and you get an 8. 6 times 1 plus 2. So that's the width. Sorry, that's the width and that's the parameter. But not to worry about that. We double these, we get a 12x plus 4 and an 8x minus 6, because we're doing 2 times and 2 times. And we add these up. These are easy to add. 20x minus 2. That's the parameter. The other way to do parameter would be to go 2x plus 6x plus 2, add on 4x minus 3, add on 6x plus 2, add on 4x minus 3, and add all them up and you get it. So it's your choice. The parameter of this one, we got going around, let's see, we got that length, we have that one and that one, but we don't have this one. But this one right here is made up of this one plus this. So if we take this one and we add these together, we'll get this length here, because it's to come from here to here is the same as going right straight across here. So we can add on, we can go, that plus that is 2x plus 7. So now I can get the parameter is adding all these up. 2x plus 4, add on x plus 5, add on x plus 2, add on 3x plus 4, and I'm going to run out of space, add on 2x plus 7. So when you add all these up, again, parameter is the distance around. So if you add them, if you group them together, then it would be a good idea. Or we can go, x's are 2, 3, 4, 7, 9. So that's a 9x. And the constants are 4, 9, 11, 15, 22. Now if you want to write them all down and take your time and make sure you don't miss them, we can do it this way too. 4 plus a 5 plus a 2 plus a 4 plus a 7. So that's writing them all out. The x's first and the numbers. And you still get the same answer. Or you can put them here in your diagram and put the 2x plus 7 here, because that length there is the same as right across there, which is that plus that. Now you can go 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, and put the 9 without writing it all out, because it depends if you're writing a test or not, or you're showing. But this is showing everything is done. That's the only thing if you make an error. Number 2, find the area of each polynomial in simplest descending form. So we're doing the area of each because there's more on the next page. A triangle has half the base times the height. So the base is 8x and the height, the base is 6x minus 3 and the height is right there, which is 8x. So half the base times the height, sorry for that, I just put it in wrong. I could put, the 8x first and then the 6x minus 3 after, but I want to obey the formula, half the base times the height. Done. So I can multiply, leave that alone. I can multiply these two first because they're on the right. So that gives me 48x squared minus 24x. So 8x times 6x, 8x times 3. Then I can multiply by the half. So a half times 48 is 24. Half times 24 is 12, negative. So there's the area in terms of the polynomial in descending simplest form. And if you want to write down a half of 8x times 6x minus 3, remember multiplication, there's 3 of them. You can multiply these two first, and then this one, if you want. And that'll give you the same answer as 24x squared minus 12x. Or if you were right here having this, if you didn't want to multiply these two first, you could multiply the half by the 8x, because multiplication what? Remember, 2 times 3 times 7. You can go 6 times 7 is 42, or you can go 2 times 21, which is 42, or you can go 2 times 7, 14 times 3, which is 42. So when you got 3 multiplications, you can multiply any 2, and then the third one after. Don't forget that. Practice means, okay, you're working. Again, we got to find the area because I'll have number 2 on the other side. Find the area of each. So the area is of a rectangle is length times width, and the length and the width makes no difference what's what, but let's take the first one as the length and the second one as the width, and we multiply here by FOIL, length times width. First, 10x squared, outside, 3x, inside, 24x, and last is 6. And add, like terms, we can only add the x's. So 3 and 24 is 27. Area of a rectangle. It's in descending order and is simplified. A square. The area of a square is, the formula is s squared. Remember I did it. There's a whole unit. Units that I do one on perimeter, I do one on area, I do one on surface area, and I do one on volume. Many videos on those exercises done beforehand here. So that's a square, so it's a 4x minus 3 squared, because a square has all right angles and a square has all sides equal. So if you did a square as length times width, you would get 4x minus 3 times 4x minus 3, because a square is length times width and they're the same. So that's why if you put down this formula and square it out, that's the same as doing length times width. Multiply FOIL. First 16x squared. Outside, negative 12x. Inside, negative 12x. Last, plus 9. Add up the like terms, and negative 24x plus 9. Done. But a equals x squared. Remember, a square is an s and an s. Two sides are the same. So if you think about a rectangle, length times width, it's s times s. That's why the formula for a square is s squared for shortcut. Number 3, find the area of the shaded region as a polynomial in simplest descending form or order. So what we have is a shaded region. So we have a big rectangle and a small rectangle. So let's do the large area first. I call it AL, large. So it's the length, 4x plus 5, times the width. And the area of the small one, I'm going to call S, is the inside one. It's the length, and it don't make any difference what the length is. I'm putting the 2x before x plus 6. It's just easier to multiply. But we know that it's those two multiplied together. And that's the FOIL on this. First, outside, inside, last. Again, notice I use my first, outside, inside, last, and I don't go wrong when I do it normally. Simplify that. So I multiplied by FOIL. Now I simplify it. That's done. Then I multiply here, the monomial times these two. That gives me 2x squared. 2x times 6 is 12x. Now that I have these done, I will the shaded, and I'm going to S-H-A-D-E-D. The shaded is the large one. Subtract the small one in area. So let's use brackets to keep it organized. The large one is the 12x squared plus 11x minus 5. The small one is 2x squared plus 12x. And when we're subtracting, I'm adding on the opposite, which is a negative 2x squared minus 12x. Or you can put a 1 there and multiply by it. Same thing. Put a 1 and multiply by negative 1 or plus negative. Same thing. Group your like terms. 12x squared minus 2x squared plus 11x minus 12x. And the constant go to last. Add up 10x squared minus x minus 5. Again, look at the math. I worked out the area of the large one first, then I worked out the area of the small one, then I wrote it down as a subtraction. Brackets around the large one, brackets around the small one, showing the subtraction. Again, take your time. Follow what you're doing. Show what you're doing. And normally you'll be okay. Number 4. Find the volume of the box as an algebraic expression simplified in descending order. Always simplify, always in descending order. But the volume of a box is the length times the width times the height. Notice there's no multiplication between, understood. The length times the width times the height. So really, if you call this, what I do, if I got 3 products, I put the monomial first, the binomials after. And as it happens, this is the height, so the height is on the end anyway if you wrote it that way. But if I had to do the 8x and I put the monomial before the binomials in math. And if I'm going to multiply these, I do the 2 binomials on the right side. So that's why I put the monomial first, the binomial second if I'm multiplying, and I'll multiply these out by FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. And you simplify that, 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. Add up the x's. Now you multiply by 8x. 8x times the 3 d's, 24x cubed. 8x times 5x, 40x squared. 8x times negative 2, negative 16x. Done. Volume means length times width times height, so you're doing 3 multiplications. Number 5, expressed as a polynomial in descending order. The square of the sum of these two. The square of the sum. Sum means add. So that means that I'm going to find the sum of these. I'm going to add those together, and I'm going to do the square of that sum. The square of the sum. Find the sum. And the sum is 5x minus 3. Notice it's easy to add these. 4x and x is 5x, minus 5 and 2 is 3. And when you square, you multiply by itself. And then we do the FOIL. First, 25x squared. Outside, 15x. Inside, minus 15. And last is plus 9. So notice, first, outside, inside, last. And I said 15x here. I wrote down a negative 15, but I said 15. So minus 15 is a minus 30. Plus 9. Notice when we square, there's a pattern for squaring. Remember, the pattern for squaring is what? When you a plus b squared, the pattern is a squared minus plus 2ab plus b squared. When you multiply a plus b times a plus b, you'll get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So just to emphasize that. A, notice A, that's your A and that's your B. If you think about it, that's B is plus negative. So the B is negative 3, the A is 5. So if you put 5x, if you put 5x right here, and put A as 5x, and put your B as a negative 3. So I'm filling in A and B with these. So 5x times 5x is 25x squared. And that's 10. That's a negative 30x. 10 times negative 3 is negative 30. Negative 3 squared is 9. So you could multiply like this by FOIL and get the answer, or you can use your pattern. I'm only emphasizing the pattern because, again, when you see this, the more you see it, the more you practice, the better you get. But most students would just multiply these like this. I just did that as an extra. Number 6, a square has a perimeter of 12x plus 8. Find its area as a polynomial descending order. So the perimeter of a square is 4s, 4 times the side. So if your perimeter is 12x plus 8, and you got a 4s, then if you divide both sides by 4, you should get the length of the side. 4 into 12 goes 3x, 4 into 8 goes 2. So the 4 is divided into both of these. Don't forget, it's 12x plus 8, and you're dividing both of them by 4. So that gives you 3x plus 2. 4 divides into both of these, not just into the 12, not just the 8, both. So if that's the side, the area of a triangle is s squared, so it's 3x plus 2 squared, which is 3x plus 2 times 3x plus 2. Again, most students wouldn't think about doing a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, but it's a good practice. They would do FOIL first, outside, inside, last. And they come up with 9x squared plus 12x plus 4. Most students wouldn't write them down twice, FOIL it out, and then simplify. These are x's right here. Let's continue. And let's see. A rectangle has an area of 8x cubed plus 5x squared plus x minus 10, and a width of x plus 2. Find the length in descending order. So let's see. The area of a rectangle is length times width. So if that's the area, x cubed plus 5x squared plus x minus 10. And we have the width, which is x plus 2. So what we have to do is what? If we have to divide. So think about it. If we divide here, that cancels out. And so really what we're doing is we're taking the x plus 2 and we're going to divide into the area. And I got that in the wrong spot. Sorry about that. I got that close to here. I don't want to cram that up. Let's move it over here. So we're going to divide the width into the area and we'll get the length. Here we go. Just ignore that. X into x cubed is x squared. So x cubed, x squared times 2 is 2x. We change the sign to a minus and a minus. Plus 1 minus 1 cancels. 5 minus 2 is 3x squared. Bring down your next term. X into 3x squared is 3x. Notice I put the squares above the squares, x's above the x's, constants above. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 2 is 6x. And change the sign, negative and a negative. That cancels out. 1 minus 6 is negative 5x. Bring down to 10. And x into negative 5x is negative 5. Negative 5 times x, negative 5x. Negative 5 times 2, negative 10. The minus becomes a plus. The minus becomes a plus. Negative 5 plus 5 cancels out. Negative 10 plus 10 cancels out, which makes sense because there's no remainder. Because the length, when you multiply the length by the width, you get this polynomial, so there's no remainder there. So the length, I'm going to write L for length, is x squared plus 3x minus 5. And number 8, find a polynomial descending order which when divided by 2x minus 5 has a quotient of that and a remainder. Okay, I practiced, remember earlier that my dividend or polynomial, P-O-L-Y, or I call it D-I-V-I-D-E-N-T, we did that a while back. That was the quotient, I remember it's the quotient, times the divisor, plus, I'm going to call R remainder for short. So that means if I take my quotient, which is the answer, multiply by my divisor, which is what I'm dividing by, and add on my remainder, I should get the polynomial that we started with. And we do FOIL first, outside, inside, last, plus the 8. So I multiplied, and now it's already grouped perfect. So x squared minus 11x minus 2. So notice, when you divide this polynomial, let's go back. If you take this polynomial, which is 6x squared minus 11x minus 2, there's the polynomial. If you divide it by your divisor, which is 2x minus 5, so if you divided 2x minus 5 into 6x squared minus 11x minus 2, when you work that out, you'll get up on the top of here 3x plus 2, and down here your remainder will become 8 if you want to work it out. Is that clear? But we have that done. That takes us to the end of writing polynomials using your skills to work out problems. That's the ultimate in doing math. If you like my video, click the like button. If you're not a subscriber, then be one if you wish. Join my channel and click the notification bell because there are more videos coming your way. And write a comment on my video if you wish, if you're a subscriber. and visit my math website, mathfullyexplained.com, and there you'll get information on 3 sections. Me as my degrees and teaching experience. My video section tells you about tips and the strategies you're going to use to help make your math easier to learn. And the section on content has the topics, the number of videos on those topics. And the black font is what's already online on my YouTube channel, and the red font is what will be there in the near future. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye. Thank you very much.